Welcome back, everyone. We're diving deep today into some really fascinating self-improvement ideas. It seems like you're really into how small, consistent actions can lead to big changes, huh?
Yeah, it's a really cool concept. It's all about those little habits that over time add up to something pretty amazing.
Exactly. You've got some great sources here on things like starting your day with intention, practicing gratitude, embracing lifelong learning, and setting those smaller, achievable goals.
Those are some really powerful concepts. And you know what's interesting? They all seem to be interconnected, don't they?
Right. It's like they all reinforce each other. Like, take this idea of starting each day with intention. So many of your sources highlighted that as a key habit.
Totally. It's like setting the tone for your entire day. Even if it's just a single word like focus or kindness, it can make a big difference.
I love that. It's like priming your mind for what you want to experience. Instead of just letting the day happen to you, you're kind of taking control, right?
Exactly. You're choosing the direction you want to go in.
Have you ever tried that in your own life? Like setting a daily intention?
Oh, absolutely. I've been experimenting with it a lot lately. And the interesting thing is, sometimes the simplest intentions are the most powerful. Recently, I've been starting my day with the intention to be present, not just physically, but mentally present in each moment.
Wow, that's powerful. And it makes me think about how often we just react to things without really thinking about it, like we're on autopilot. But if you start your day with the intention to be kind, for instance, imagine how differently you might handle a stressful situation.
Right. You're essentially training your brain to respond in a more conscious way.
So it's like you're setting the stage for a more positive experience, even when things get tough.
Exactly. It's about being proactive rather than reactive.
Okay, so starting with intention seems like a great first step. And another theme that popped up a lot in your sources was practicing gratitude. We hear about it all the time, but it's fascinating to me that there's actual science behind it.
You're right. It's not just some feel-good concept. There's a growing body of research showing that practicing gratitude can literally rewire your brain to be more positive.
So it's like training your mind to focus on the good, even amidst the chaos of everyday life. Have you found that to be true in your own experience?
Oh, absolutely. I used to think gratitude was all about those big, grand gestures, but I've realized it's much more nuanced than that. It's about finding those little moments of appreciation throughout the day, like the sunshine streaming through your window or a delicious cup of coffee.
Right. It's about noticing and appreciating those small things that we often take for granted.
Exactly. And when you start to shift your focus in that way, it can really change your whole perspective.
It's like you're training your brain to scan for the positive rather than dwelling on the negative.
And that can make a huge difference in your overall well-being. It's like those small moments of gratitude become little anchors of positivity throughout your day.
I love that. So we've got starting with intention and practicing gratitude, two really powerful habits for building a more positive and resilient mindset. But your sources also highlighted the importance of something else, lifelong learning. And this wasn't just about formal education. It seemed like it was more about cultivating a mindset of continuous growth and curiosity.
That's such a crucial point. In today's world, things are changing so rapidly that being adaptable is essential. And what fuels adaptability? Lifelong learning.
It's like you're constantly evolving, constantly expanding your knowledge and skills. And the cool thing is, there's so many ways to do that these days. Books, podcasts, online courses, workshops.
Yeah.
The possibilities are endless.
Exactly. The key is to find what resonates with you and to commit to making learning a regular part of your life. Even if it's just for 20 minutes each day, that consistent effort will compound over time.
20 minutes a day doesn't sound too daunting, does it?
Yeah.
So is there anything you personally been wanting to explore, like a topic you've always been curious about?
Lately I've been fascinated by astrophysics. It just blows my mind to think about the vastness of the universe and our place in it.
It's like opening up a whole new world, right? And who knows, maybe that knowledge will connect to something completely unexpected in your life down the road. So we've got starting the day with intention, practicing gratitude, and embracing lifelong learning. But there's one more piece to this puzzle of self-improvement that your sources kept coming back to. Setting small, achievable goals. It seems like they really cautioned against aiming for those massive, overwhelming goals that can lead to burnout.
Absolutely. It's a trap that's so easy to fall into, thinking we need to make these radical changes overnight. But lasting change happens incrementally. When you break down a big goal into smaller, manageable steps, it not only feels less daunting, but it creates this awesome sense of momentum.
Like that saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Exactly. And the psychological impact of those small wins is amazing. Like if you want to write a book, the thought of writing an entire book can feel paralyzing, right? But if you just commit to writing 1 page a day,
Suddenly it feels totally doable.
exactly. And over time, those pages add up. You're making progress without feeling overwhelmed.
That's such a brilliant strategy.
Yeah.
And it makes me think about how we often get discouraged when we don't see immediate results. But if we shift our focus to those small, consistent actions,
It's easier to stay motivated and keep moving forward. It's about enjoying the journey, not just focusing on the destination.
Okay, so we've covered some key themes here, starting with intention, practicing gratitude, embracing lifelong learning, and setting those smaller, achievable goals. It sounds like they all work together to create this awesome foundation for personal growth.
And the coolest part is that these are all habits that anyone can cultivate. It's not about some magical formula. It's about making conscious choices and taking consistent action.
It's about showing up for yourself day after day and nurturing those positive habits.
And as you do that, you start to see those small changes rippling outward, creating a more positive and fulfilling life.
That's so inspiring. It feels like we're just scratching the surface here. There's so much more to explore in the realm of self-improvement.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to dive deeper into some of these concepts and see what other insights we can uncover.
It's interesting, we often think about self-improvement as this like mental and emotional thing, but in your research, there was a lot about physical well-being as part of the journey.
Yeah, totally. It's easy to get caught up in the mental and emotional aspects, but our physical health is a big part of overall well-being.
Absolutely. They're all connected. When you take care of your body, you have more energy, you can focus better, and you deal with stress better.
Right. It's like giving yourself a good foundation to work with.
Yeah, a strong foundation. And it doesn't need to be big changes like super intense workouts. One of the things I saw suggested small steps like short walks, more fruits and veggies, just having a regular sleep schedule.
I like that approach. Building those sustainable habits that fit your life. Instead of some crazy routine you'll quit in a week.
Totally. Small changes, but done consistently, they can have a huge impact over time. That reminds me of another thing that came up a lot, cultivating self-reflection. Why is that so important, do you think, for self-improvement?
Self-reflection. It's like stepping back away from the everyday stuff and really looking at your thoughts, feelings, and actions. You can see what's going well, what could be better. Are you actually living by your values and goals,
It's like, one source even said, it's like holding a mirror to your soul.
Ooh, I like that. Holding a mirror to your soul. It might be uncomfortable sometimes, but you get to see yourself more clearly, the good and the bad.
That's powerful. And it doesn't have to be this big, long process either, right?
No, not at all. Even just taking a few minutes each day, do some journaling or just sit quietly and think about your experiences. It can be really powerful.
Just creating that space for yourself to think, to process what's happening.
Exactly. And there was even a source that had specific questions you can ask yourself, like, did I make progress towards my goals? Or how did I deal with tough situations this week? Things like that.
Ooh, I like that. Specific questions. I bet the answers would change each week too as you're growing.
For sure, self-reflection is ongoing. It's not just a one-time thing. You keep checking in with yourself, see if your priorities still make sense, make adjustments if you need to.
It's a journey, right?
Yeah.
Constantly learning about yourself.
Yeah.
So we've got self-reflection, but a lot of your sources also talked about practicing kindness and empathy. Not just to others, but to ourselves too. What do you think about that?
That's such an important point. It's easy to get super focused on self-improvement, and then we become our own worst critic. You mess up, you don't reach a goal, and you're so hard on yourself.
Yeah, we forget that we're all human, we all make mistakes. It's how we learn.
Exactly. And that's where being kind to yourself comes in. You got to treat yourself with the same understanding and forgiveness that you give a friend.
I remember one source had this great quote. It said, self-compassion isn't about making excuses for yourself. It's about recognizing that you're doing the best you can with what you've got right now.
Oh, that's good. And you know what? I think it connects with that growth mindset idea we talked about. When you're kind to yourself, it's easier to see challenges as chances to learn, not like personal failures.
That's a really good point. And it makes you wonder, if you're always judging yourself, you're probably judging other people too, right?
You're absolutely right. Self-compassion and empathy, they go together. You're kind to yourself, and it kind of spills over to how you treat others.
Makes sense. One of your sources talked about loving kindness meditation for self-compassion and empathy. Have you ever tried that?
I have, and it's really amazing. You basically just focus on sending good vibes, like love and kindness, first to yourself, then to other people, and eventually like to everyone. It helps you feel more connected, more compassionate.
Wow, that sounds powerful. And it shows how our inner world, really affects how we interact with the world around us.
Yeah.
If you're full of self-criticism, it's going to show up in other ways. But if you have self-compassion,
It creates this ripple effect of positivity.
yeah, exactly. Like Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world.
That's perfect. It all starts with you.
I love that. Okay, so we've got self-reflection, self-compassion, and empathy. Super important for personal growth. But there's one more thing I wanted to get into, something that really stood out to me in your research. It's about cultivating a sense of purpose.
Purpose. It's what drives us, right? What makes life feel meaningful gives us direction. And it's something so many people struggle with. Feeling lost, not sure what they're doing it all for.
I get that. There have been times I've felt like I was just floating along, no real direction.
One source described purpose as where your passions, your talents, and the needs of the world all come together. It's finding that spot where you use your unique gifts to make a positive impact.
That's a really beautiful way to think about it. It's not just what you enjoy, it's how you can use that to make a difference. And it doesn't have to be like saving the world, right?
No, not at all. It could be helping your community, supporting your family, even just making someone smile.
Yeah, it's about those everyday moments where you're making a positive impact.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes purpose so powerful. It's not something you have to go out and find. You cultivate it through your choices, your actions, how you live your life.
It's asking yourself, what kind of mark do I want to leave on the world? And then taking steps to make that happen.
Living with intention, with purpose, and with compassion. And that's a beautiful thing. As we wrap up this deep dive, I can't help but think about that idea of self-improvement as a lifelong journey. It's tempting to focus on reaching some kind of final destination, but really what we've been talking about is embracing the process, isn't it?
That's it, exactly. It's not about achieving some perfect state of being. It's about always striving, always growing, becoming the best version of you. And that journey, well, it unfolds one step at a time.
Like we're always evolving, learning, growing. And those small, consistent actions we discussed, those are the stepping stones that keep us moving.
I love that image, stepping stones. Even on days when it doesn't feel like we've done much, we're still going in the right direction.
So as we're closing out this deep dive, is there one big takeaway you hope our listener walks away with? Something that'll really resonate?
If I had to boil it all down, it's this. Lasting change, real change, it starts small. Consistent actions, done with intention, and a growth mindset. That's the key.
Such a powerful reminder. It's not about those overnight transformations. It's the small steps we take each day that get us closer to where we want to be.
And being patient with ourselves throughout the process. Growth takes time. There'll be setbacks, challenges, but those are the moments that make us stronger, more resilient.
It's like they say, the only true failure is giving up. As long as we keep taking those steps, even tiny ones, we're moving forward.
Exactly. So for our listener out there, I want to ask, what's one small habit you could start today? Something that moves you towards the life you want.
Love that question. And it truly doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's 5 minutes each morning for gratitude practice, a 20-minute walk after work in nature, even just 15 minutes before bed to read something inspiring.
The important thing is finding what works for you, something you can actually stick with that feels good. Make it part of your routine, even if it's tiny.
Every small step counts. It all adds up to becoming the best version of ourselves.
Embrace the journey, celebrate your wins, and never underestimate those little actions done consistently. They make all the difference.
This has been such a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
The pleasure was mine. It's always so exciting to explore self-improvement, how these simple things can truly change lives.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring these ideas, experiment, keep growing. The journey's just beginning.
Until next time, keep striving, keep believing, and keep shining bright.